Good day and welcome to the Leadership Boost. Hey, it is the right thing to do. What is the right thing to do? It is the right thing to do. You know, they say managers make sure that things are done right, but that leaders make sure that we're doing the right thing. It's no good doing things right if we're not headed in the right direction. Leaders bring things together to make sure that what you're doing is the right thing. Stephen Covey talks about how the workers are out there in the field and they're chopping down the jungle and packaging all the jungle stuff, and they've organized this whole whole production line, and everybody's moving stuff from one end to the other and making sure it's all bundled nicely and people can carry it, and that the machetes and chainsaws are all sharp and working and shifts are in, and there's the best use of resources, etc., etc. And then the leader climbs up the ladder and says, hey guys, we're in the wrong jungle. So you can be so organized doing things right that you've forgotten to do the right things. Some things that we have touched on, and we touch on quite often in this podcast, broadcast episodes, is the little things that make a difference. And one of the things can be the limiting behaviors. Not only do we have limiting beliefs, but we have limiting behaviors. There's things that we do or don't do that in fact can hinder our growth and our development and our connection with people, so that we become effective, impactful, exceptional leaders. And I'm not just talking about those in positions of, celebrity positions or positions of power or positions of great influence. I'm just talking about everyday people leading wherever they are in whatever they're doing. And there's something that I became aware of. I don't know about you, but I grew up sort of in the 60s, 70s. That was my years of growing up. Interesting times, and I had a lot of things happen in my childhood that affected my life for a long, long time afterwards. But it left me feeling, left me as a person in character, personality. I've told you this before, but it left me very shy, introverted, intimidated by people, not a lot of self-esteem, not a lot of self-confidence, not a lot of self-worth, but yet something inside of me believed that I could be significant. And the process of having to move and develop into where I can be was a hard journey. We have a responsibility as parents and as leaders, is how we impact people at a very early stage of relationship, of their journey, of their life. And the one thing that I noticed that I had to fight for, and that was being polite. It affected me deeply when people weren't polite to me. It hurt me. It used to disappoint me, because I don't know, I grew up understanding, out of everything that happened in my life, the one thing that I was taught was, you be polite. Not because of them, but because of you. And it's the right thing to do. It's just the right thing to do. And yet today we see so little of politeness, so little manners. People will walk past you, ignore you. And if they feel like offended at you, they will just totally ignore you. But that's where you and I have to stand up and show a different standard of things. If we just like everybody else and do what everybody else does, then we cannot call ourselves leaders. We cannot call ourselves influencers. We cannot call ourselves leaders of any form or fashion, because we are just like everybody else. Politeness, somebody said, costs nothing but yields much. Politeness costs nothing, but it yields much. It doesn't cost you anything to be respectful. Now, oftentimes people have come and said, well, that's from a different culture. Well, you've got to decide what norms and values you're going to accept that are limiting, or that you're prepared to develop, that will make you the kind of person that people actually gravitate to. You can change atmospheres just by being polite. It's a real limiting behavior when you are gruff and arrogant and moody, and you become impolite. Politeness means having or showing behavior that is respectful, listen, and considerate of other people. It's showing behavior that is respectful and considerate. And we learn these things at a very early age. We learn these things by habit. Just smiling more, just by saying good morning more enthusiastically, leaving the mood at home. We carry our moods and we carry our emotions and our feelings on our sleeve. Now, I'm a very emotional kind of feeling person, but to be grounded within the context of what are my disciplines and my character and who am I and what is my nature, and connecting with people. I'm not talking about being political, I'm being polite. You give politeness not because somebody deserves it, but because you are of good nature and of good character. Because people respond to how you behave. People react to how you behave. And being polite doesn't mean you're weak. Being polite doesn't mean you are soft. Being polite doesn't mean you're not courageous, that you don't have strength about you, that you don't have confidence about you. We're not talking about trying to win people's approval. We're just talking about being respectful and considerate of others. And it's a behavioral trait. It's a habit that we make our own. But sometimes we get so caught up in who we are, so caught up in our world, that we forget that we are actually our own biggest enemy when it comes to these things. We forget how much we can impact people's lives, how we can transform things. You see, we're always looking for something huge to be the transformational person. Something massive has got to happen. Some huge event, some massive miracle has to take place. We have to build something massive. But in the little things, we can make a difference. I remember listening to Nelson Mandela many years ago, and he was saying how his Methodist Sunday school teacher, a little old lady, would teach them in Methodist Sunday school, and the impact she had on his life. Who would have known? She sat there smiling at them, being kind to them, teaching them. How would she know that she was impacting a future president? I think about that on this podcast. I think it might not be thousands of audience right now, but it just needs to be one. And that one could be a president, an ambassador. It could be a CEO. It could be somebody that is working worldwide in a charity. I don't know. But could make a huge impact by something I say, by something that I influence them with. So I'm not going to get on here and swear and cuss and talk ugly to you. I'm going to do it with heartfelt intensity and sincerity and consideration for where you are in the world right now. Whatever you're doing to inspire you. Because you may be touching a future general, a future president, a future CEO, inventor, world changer. You never know. So, what are the reasons for somebody being impolite? I pulled this off a of a little quote, and it says, low self-esteem, personal problems, and these are all absolutely real and true, is that people with low self-esteem tend to not put themselves out there, really don't care about others. They very self-centered oftentimes. Personal problems, you're walking around, you're carrying stress and stuff on your life, and you're just in your own little world, and therefore you're inconsiderate, and you typically don't have the energy to be respectful to others. But that's exactly when you need to be. It's not their fault that you are where you are. It's not their fault that you're dealing with what you're dealing. So, but we tend to kind of punish people when we disrespectful and we inconsiderate of them. It's like, what did I do wrong? Have you ever had that? A manager shouts at you for, just no reason, just shouts it out loud. It's just, there's no reason for that. I didn't do anything to your life. That you got up on the wrong side of the bed this morning, or maybe your life sucks at the moment, but don't get it out on me. And when you're working in an intense team kind of situation in relationships, that's often the case. It's not being said, but that's, people are too scared to say it, but that's really what's happening. What about learned behavior? Again, this is where the limitations kicked in. We learn to disrespect and be inconsiderate to others, and we make it part of our habit, is just, we're the boss, they just got to shut up and listen. Or we just have this kind of attitude about our lives that we just treat everybody bad, but they've got to treat us well. It's just, or maybe not. You kind of have that bully kind of thing going on about, some people have that bully thing, it's just like rough with everybody, and yeah, many times it's because they've learned that. And that's why it's important what you teach at home. What you teach at home. I taught my children is, like, even when you go to the till to pay, at a store, and you're paying, respect the person taking your money, because they're in charge at that point in time. It doesn't matter who it is, doesn't matter what culture they come from, respect them. When you deal with people and you're walking into a room and it's not your room and it's not your party and it's not your office, respect the person in charge, respect them, be considerate of them, because it's where they are, and you'll go far, far, far in life when they know that you are respectful and considerate. What about personality disorders? Some people just have a bad personality, they rub everybody up the wrong way, and that's where you won't progress. You can't advance in life because you've got this thing that's constantly beating you up. People that are burnt out and stressed also, they just don't, they're so focused on what they're trying to deal with, and they just worn out, and they can't be bothered with anybody. Burnout, I'm telling you, just leaves you not considering anybody else. And we've got to consider that they are in burnout. We've got to consider that and see, what can we do to help them? What can we do to make this world a better place? People make up the world. We have this great opportunity. You and me, we have this great opportunity to make a difference in the world. Just simply through these little things that make a difference. What about emotional immaturity? Some people just have never ever matured into the place that they are confident enough and have enough self-respect to actually respect others. They're too insensitive. They're too, and that was me. I was just intimidated by everybody. I didn't know how to talk to people. But there was one thing my grandparents had drilled into me when I was young. Be considerate, be respectful, be polite. Costs you nothing. Open the door. It's not because, you have to, or because you have to, because it's out of your heart. You do it because you believe in it. You stand up when you greet people. You look in the eye, and when somebody greets you, you greet them back. You smile. Doesn't take anything to say, hi, how are you? And you go, wow, you don't really want to know how they are. I know that whole thing went around. I know, but it's just that somebody for a moment cares. Just like, hello, how are you? So, I'm great. You say, oh, it's too superficial. No, but it's just a moment of saying I care. A moment of saying you're important enough to address as somebody that's of value. Highly important. These things, this is a behavior that can move you forward. A little thing that you can invest into your life and build into your day. Say, I'm going to be more polite. So people that are inconsiderate, of course, that's what we've been talking about, will never be polite. They'll always be gruff, they'll always be sarcastic, they'll always be critical. And that's not you and me. You are the exceptional leader. And these are little things that I know you're already probably doing it, but just a reminder to keep building it into your everyday interactions with others. So the only true source of politeness is consideration. The only true source of politeness is consideration. You won't be, if you're trying to be polite for any other reason, you are political. You're just trying to win favor and, suck up to the person so you can get something. But true politeness comes from consideration, respect and consideration of others. So why is politeness important? Why is it important? Because being polite means that you are aware of and respecting their feelings. You can and improve your relationships with others through politeness. You can help to build respect and good rapport, and you boost your self-esteem and your confidence, and of course what it does is improve your communication skills. I'm not a small talk kind of person. I go into a room, I struggle to make small talk. Network meetings is a horror for me. But I've learned that if I'm just polite, if I just walk in and say, hi, how are you? How are you? What is your name? What do you do? Just simple focus on their value. What are they about? People begin to just talk, and they love you for it. As I've said before, people will just begin telling you their life story without you even asking for it, because it's so foreign today to have somebody that's caring, that's respectful, that's considerate. My mission in life is to fill the world, that's the big picture. Fill the world with more consideration, and leaders who reflect consideration. I just feel like if the world was more considerate, just 10% more considerate of each other, what a different place we'd be living in. What a different place we'd be living in. So that's what I wanted to share with you today. You are the exceptional leader, and I know you are the polite person that has respect and consideration for others. Let's build that into our behavior. Let impoliteness not be a limiting behavior in our life that stops us building that respect and rapport and boosting self-esteem and confidence, not only in ourselves but in others, and improving communication skills, opening up and improving our relationships, because we just make a decision to do this as part of our daily habits. All right, so that's from Sean. Thank you for being with me again. Have a super week or a super day, and until next time, this is Sean saying over and out.